You know, the name Glen Cameron in the Floridian is synonymous with big fish and big numbers of fish. That's why whenever I got the call from Glen to come up and go do a fishing trip with him on the east side of the Gulfstream, I was totally psyched. You know, when we jumped in the Floridian, we pulled out of the city marina and turned left towards the bridge on our way to the ocean. I'll never forget seeing that beautiful sunrise. It was like, you know what? What a great day. I have no idea what we're gonna do today. I don't know what fish we're gonna catch and what adventure we're gonna find, but I know it's gonna be a good day.
We're off to see the wizard.
As we neared the east edge of the Gulfstream, I knew that we were there. There's no doubt we have arrived. The sargassum was as far as you could see and as wide as you could imagine.
What if you could see this from space?
Sargassum is the weed that actually grows in the Sargasso Sea. It starts off in the bottom. It's a member of the kelp family. The sargassum, as it breaks off and floats to the surface, it's right in that nutrient-rich, oxygen-filled water. It supports life in the biggest way. There's food for the microorganisms, there's food for the shrimp, there's food for the crabs, there's food for the little filefish, triggerfish, jacks. They then become food for the dorado, the wahoo, the blue marlin, the white marlin, the sailfish, the yellowfin tuna. It's a complete circle of life, all built up around that sargassum. So when we got to the east side of the edge and I saw massive acres of this sargassum, I knew, wow, this is amazing. This is why we ran 3.5 hours. This is why we came all the way out here into the middle of nowhere. So as soon as we put the baits out, what did we troll? 3 minutes?
Woo, got him on now. We made a patch through the birds there and couldn't get a bite, so we just put a couple out deep, 2 lines out long, and we got doubled up here.
Mondois mas weedlinus with flying fishermen.
Found just a handful of birds, 5 or 6 birds, saw them dive a couple times, and Captain Glen Cameron said, hey man, put a couple long riggers out. We put them out, crack, crack, get a double on real quick there.
Fishing these 50 taggers aboard the Floridian. Our good buddy Captain Glen Cameron.
Got a good one, don't you, Michael?
Oh, there goes a big head shake right there. Lots of head shake right there.
This fish, if you've never caught a yellowfin tuna, if I had to describe them in one word, it would be muscle. Bad to the bone muscle. Once you've got them hooked up, you can apply maximum drag. You're not gonna pull the hook out of their mouth. They're gonna run as hard as they can, and once you bottom them out, once they hit their bottom and you stop them, it's gonna be just a hard pinwheel. They're literally gonna be on their side, digging down, and you're gonna be fighting them up. Well, you know, it's the middle of the day, and we're really set up to fish the afternoon bite for these yellowfins, but sure enough, man, we put out 2 long riggers. The left long rigger was a blue and white sea witch with a large ballyhoo, and then the right long was sort of like a pearl blue sea witch with a ballyhoo. Looks like it's gonna be a great day of fishing here in the Floridian today. We're on the east side of the Gulfstream, having a fantastic time, and folks, just like always, memories are all you got. We're trying to make as many as we can. Anytime I have the opportunity to fish with a captain like Glen Cameron, it's exciting for me. To me, fishing is all about learning. I've been fishing since I was a little itty bitty kid, you know, 4, 5, 6 years old with a cane pole and a number 8 long shank hook and a piece of shrimp. Well, from there, I've worked my way up to, you know, catching blue marlins, black marlins all over the world. And one thing that I try to do always is I try to learn. It doesn't matter what I learn. Every single day I try to learn something new. And anytime you have the opportunity to fish with a captain that is versed, that is as professional, and that is as knowledgeable as Glen Cameron, you know it's gonna be a great day.
We're about 2 or 3 miles north of the tuna halts here on a maximum size weed line. maybe we'll catch some.
We put the baits out and almost instantly, crack, crack, riggers started coming down and we had fish on. Right off the bat, we got into the Dorados real well. I hooked one on a 20 on a pitch bait off the left teaser. Mike Berry had one off a rigger bait. Basically, the whole boat was covered up in Dorado almost instantly.
Come out here on the Floridian, you better eat your Wheaties. Because he's gonna put you on the meat, son. You're gonna go home needing some Bengay, some sports cream.
These are mean, voracious predators. You don't want to get too antsy with them. See, this fish is not quite ready to come to the boat. Step back, gas man.
There's another good one.
Don't try this at home. He's a trained professional.
I got one heck of a nice dolphin on right now. You know, since fishing in the Pacific, I've started calling these fish Dorado. It just sort of grew on me. But whether you call them mahi-mahi, Dorado, or a dolphin, it all spells fun.
Dolphin, which is what we call it here in Florida, is the same thing the Hawaiians call mahi-mahi. It's the same thing that the Spanish and the Californians call Dorado. Well, it's the same fish. Dolphin, mahi-mahi, Dorado. It's the dolphin fish. They're green. The bulls have a big, almost knife-shaped, flat head, and the bigger they get, the flatter it gets, and just thick and gnarly. Dorado are very fast-growing. They're basically the chicken of the sea. A massive, massive 60, 70 pounder may only be 2.5 years old. They grow to like 10 pounds in the first year. They eat continuously. They're very, very carnivorous. They love to eat triggerfish, filefish, flying fish, tinker mackerel, bonito. These fish grow so fast. So if you have the opportunity, release those small ones. You don't have to keep them. You know what? If you want to keep a handful of fish for dinner, great. But I really would encourage you not to keep a box full of little peanut dolphin, because those fish in just a short amount of time will be nice sized gaffers, and they will have had the opportunity to spawn, and they will have the opportunity to reproduce themselves.
There, that is a fantastic fish, dude. No joking around. Look at the size of that dolphin, dude.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, we picked on the Dorados there for a little while. Once we got the box about half full, we started dedicating our time to catching big yellowfin tunas. So Captain Glenn started working the radar, looking for birds, looking for telltale signs of yellowfin tuna. And off in the distance, I'll never forget him saying, "Hey, I've got a mark," and there they are. Just a few birds, maybe 6 or 7. Started working our way to them, and it almost looked like they were just searching themselves. Well, he said, "Hey, you know what, just fire out 2 long riggers real quick. A couple of sea witches, a blue and white, and then a pearl blue." We put them both out long on the riggers. On our first pass,
Thought it was a dolphin, but he hasn't jumped. Staying down. It's probably another nice tuna.
Mike's still on his fish. He's huffing and puffing. I think the married life's whipping him.
Catch the big ones, you huff and puff.
you know, a lot of people think you have to have live bait to catch a yellowfin tuna. Well, live bait works very, very well for tuna. But let me tell you something, tuna can get smart to live bait. People think, oh, you have to have a trolling bait and you have to fish it, 200 yards behind the boat. Well, I've seen that work as well. Another technique that works very well is chunking. I've been out here, seen people live bait and seen people trolling and say, you know what? Stop the boat, shut everything off, start feeding out your chunks, And those chunks will literally make almost a fence of food right in the water. You know what? You let a healthy school of yellowfin tunas come along and find chunks. They're gonna be like this. Eat it right up to the boat. There they are. You just keep feeding them. Take 40, 60 pound fluorocarbon with a chunk, hide your circle hook in the chunk, run off 15, 20 feet of line, and throw out a few chunks and your hook bait right in it. Hang on. No free spool, no nothing. Just wait. He's gonna come tight. I always emphasize the people on my boat, it's just one short crank down. You're trying to get one crank at a time. You don't want their head to come up too far and then down. You just little. It's just one crank at a time. Otherwise, that yellowfin tuna is gonna work you all day long. Your arms, your back, your legs, and most importantly, your head. It's gonna be so worn out by the time you get to that fish at the boat, you're not gonna wanna fish anymore.
Smile for the camera, Cap.
Another nice tuna in the box. You gotta love it. Beautiful day, east side of the Gulfstream. The fish are here.
We have a migration of yellowfins here through April, May, and June. We get a little shot of them in March, but typically April, May, and June are our tuna months fishing out of Fort Pierce. This year the fish seem to be, 50 to 80 pound fish. We've heard reports of some fish in the high 100s. Today it seems like we are catching the 50 to 60 pounders right now. We're done for today, folks. He does that with such care, tenderness. We're about 15 miles north of the corner, just on the east side of the Gulfstream. Tunas pop up in the morning, put on a morning feed bag, and we're trying to take advantage of the morning feed bag on the tunas here, right on the western edge of the tuna humps here. Trying to annihilate the tuna. Annihilation is our game.
In Hawaii, they call these fish ahi tuna. They're commonly known as yellowfin tuna here, and my friends in Costa Rica call them yellowfins. I call them fun and great to eat.
Kane went ahead and threw out the jig, and he's got him on over here. He may have taken a knife to a gunfight here.
Yes, we did.
Nothing like an early morning bicep workout on the Floridian.
This is my first try with this jig. My buddies have all tried to get me to try it, and first cast out, hook up.
Okay, that's because it's a butterfly jig, and butterfly jigs are idiot-proof.
Well, you can talk about bait rigging, you can talk about your terminal tackle and everything else, but the most important thing is the knot. The knot forms the critical link between you and your trophy.
Tuna coming in, baby.
When you're big game fishing, when you're trolling baits, number one, you always need to be watching what's going on. Well, we had been trolling, we had just caught 40 yellowfin tunas, and the birds were, probably a half mile up ahead of us. Captain Glenn said, "Hey Rob, let's go." So I grabbed my right long rigger, I popped it out of the pin, and I'm cranking it in as fast as I can. The boat's halfway up on a plane, and the bait's literally just skipping and cartwheeling, coming in across the whitewater. About that time, I literally just see a dorsal just make a little pass. Instantly, I knew what it had to be. There's only one thing, blue marlin. So I go to free spool and just drop that bait right through the whitewash, and as soon as it went to free spool, I felt, I yelled at the captain so he knew. I was like, I just got picked up. Come tight. Boom, out of the water he comes.
Got him on. Yeah, baby.
Great job, Robert. Great job.
Nice. Nice little blue marlin. We were just talking about we'd like to have a blue marlin bite. We were winding up our lines, and sure enough, the last bait in, Robert was winding it up, and nice blue marlin bite right on it. That was killer. We got him on here.
We get the fish coming, and he comes up right behind the boat, windshield wiping, and Cappy's backing down to him. We get the release, and he goes to shift the boat, and I feel the boat shift the wrong way, and the fish is running up here, and the boat's going back here, and I knew something was wrong.
We got a transmission problem here.
I knew well enough just to keep quiet, and I backed off the drag a little bit, let my fish run out there, and we realized we had broke a shaft. So Captain Glenn, being the pro captain, he was able to negotiate the boat with just one engine. We backed up to him, got the leader, got the fish, let him go, and it was a success. No shaft. Broke the shaft. Broke it at the taper. Now with just one wheel, with just one prop, we started that 70-mile trip back home at about 8 knots. Well, 8 knots seems like perfect trolling speed to me, so we put a full spread back out, and I walked up front. There's a real nice little padded area where you can lay back. I had a pillow under my head, reading a magazine, just enjoying the day. Flat, calm seas, sunshine, fresh air. Doesn't get any better than that, and I'm just relaxing. I hear Mike in the back go, "Hey, there's a blue marlin eating the left long rigger if somebody wants to catch it." Well, when I heard blue marlin, Jeff, with his 6-foot arms, grabs the rod, feeds it through him through the pin, pushes the drag forward, got him on. We all thought Mike was kidding. Well, I looked at the reel, and it's just that steady pull, drag just peeling off the reel, and I'm like, that's gotta be him. That's gotta be a blue marlin. So I pick the camera up and I start filming. Sure enough, pow, there he is, airing it out. Beautiful blue marlin, even bigger than the one I just caught. You can't imagine how fast a blue marlin is. They go from left to right, away, forward, back, all over so fast. And Captain Glenn did such a great job maneuvering that boat. When the fish got close, I handed Mike Berry the camera, and he got some great shots as I got my underwater video camera, because I knew I had to get in the water with that fish. Lit up neon blue. It's Jeff Aderman, the producer, the main cameraman for Real Adventures. I had to get in the water and get the underwater shots of that fish. And when I hit that water, all I saw was the cobalt blue. I saw the stripes. I saw the muscle. I saw that blue marlin and how beautiful he was. And whenever Mikey grabbed the leader and let him go, he swam away just as healthy as could be. And as I got back in the boat and looked at Jeff, that sense of joy, that sense of, I finally caught my first blue marlin. You never forget that day. And I'll never forget being there watching Jeff catch his first blue marlin. It was a real adventure.
Aderman catches his first blue marlin on the Floridian. Woo!
You know, when you catch your first blue marlin, the first thing that comes to mind is, how do I get that thing on my wall? You want to be able to see that every day for the rest of your life. Well, the great thing is we work with a company like Global Fish Mounts. They're the largest marine taxidermists in the world. They have more molds than anybody, and they have the best artists you could ever imagine. Mikey takes the wrap on the leader, the fish jumps, breaks off, and swims away. Well, we know from Captain Glenn's experience, from my experience, from all our experience on the boat, that we can make a precise estimate of that fish. He looks to be about 110, 112 inches long, probably about 325, 350. So just so you know, you don't have to kill the fish. You don't have to have precise measurements, although it helps. You don't have to have that. If you catch a fish, get him on a leader, release him, make an estimate of how long he was, how much he weighed. A photo would always be nice, but you don't have to have that. All you really need to have is a good estimate of the weight, a good estimate of the length, and they can do the rest. They're professionals, and I guarantee you they'll leave you with your mouth open going, whoa, how did they do that? It's Global Fish Mounts. Look them up on the net. We had that long ride back on one engine, and when we got back to the marina, me and Glenn were like, hey, the big man has to go in. It's a tradition. Anytime you catch your first blue marlin or first sailfish, you've got to get thrown in. So I jumped in the water and grabbed my underwater video camera because I couldn't miss that shot. And there's Glenn launching him off the bow. People were clapping in the restaurants all around. You know what? It's what it's all about. Catch your first blue marlin, go in the drink.